जयधारी माँ। हर जीवन अनेक प्रकार के रंगों से भरा हुआ है। बातचीत वही रंग बांटेगी आप सबके साथ। हम सब एक हैं, बस सोच अलग अलग है। बटोर लीजिए उन रंगों को, जो भी आप चाहें इस बातचीत से, और ढाल लीजिए अपनी सोच में। यही मकसद है इस बातचीत का। आइए मिलते हैं अपने प्यारे से मेहमान से। अतिथि देवो भव।
जयधारी माँ, जयधारी माँ मामी, आप सबका स्वागत है। Once a soldier, always a soldier। हमारे जो आज के अतिथि हैं, उनका धर्म देश सेवा है और वो आज भी अपना धर्म अपने दिलो जान से निभा रहे हैं। आइए उन पर एक वीडियो देखते हैं। जयधारी माँ सर, जय हिंद सर, जय हिंद सर। Sir, you're on mute. Mommy, you're on mute.
Jai Hind, everybody.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, sir.
Jai Hind, ma'am. Jai Hind, ma'am. Jai Hind, and Jai Hind to you, Saina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very welcome. Very, very welcome, sir. It's a
Thank you.
privilege and an honor. And what a
Thank you.
powerful life, sir. What a courageous, brave life. What
I
a
hope you
courageous,
saw your
brave
video.
life.
Did you see the little documentary they made of you, General?
Yes, I did just now. Thank you very much for a very,
Fantastic.
very well edited and a nice little clip that you made.
Sir, the
Thank you.
credit
Thank you
goes
so much.
to Team DL, Shakira, Shivani, Ritika, Sujata. They're doing it with a lot of love, and they all have a lot of admiration for you, with Sumit taking care of the technology, but so much of love, because your essence is also about teamwork. Sir, before we
Thank you.
start
Thank
the
you so
program,
much. And
Ji,
I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed.
Ji.
Thank you very
Ji,
much. And
sir.
thank you to the entire
Sir,
team.
thank you. Ji, sir. So I want to start with a little different question so that our viewers can understand the life of a soldier. Sir, बहुत हटके होता है दिल और दिमाग एक सोल्जर का और उसके परिवार का. सर, what is the mind like of a soldier and the family strength behind a soldier? How does a soldier think? He's every moment ready for sacrifice. Tell us about the mind of a soldier and the family, sir.
Army or armed forces, let me, in the generic sense, we talk about the army. I think army is not a profession. It is a way of life. It is, in the corporate job, in the corporate sector, or any other walk of life, you would enrich yourself, gain knowledge, and if it is in the interest of your career growth, you would actually even shift your job or change tracks. In the army, whether, and I'm sure it goes on with other forces, the police as well, where you continue to serve with the mission in mind, regardless of where you are stationed, deployed, or posted, regardless of the career growth. So, all in all, it's a way of life. It's a totally different life by itself. Now, to answer your question briefly, I think the ethos in the army, I mean, apart from team spirit, camaraderie, the the risk-taking ability in leadership, etc., and motivation, the basic difference is that I think a soldier serves with the concept of unlimited liability. When he joins the service, after all, he is ready to risk his life at every step. When you're going on a patrol, you don't know. Suddenly one shot rings out, it finds its mark, and a soldier is down. When you're patrolling on the LOC, there is a mine that has slipped by on the track because of slush, rain, and snow. A man blows up his foot. He's lost his foot forever. The point is, you don't know when it will strike. And why unlimited? Unlimited because what price can you put on a man's life? You cannot put a price on a man's life, even if you can give a lot of financial incentives and remuneration to the family. It does not make up for the void. So the point is being made here is unlimited liability. Now that is the kind of concept with which a soldier serves the country, and that is what makes it so different from other professions.
सर, आपने एलओसी के बारे में बात की. आप एलओसी के बारे में बताएंगे हमको? It's a different world altogether. It's a
Simon,
different.
can I ask a follow-up question on what General said?
Yes, mommy.
So
Please.
when the life is unlimited, and it's priceless, then what makes a person volunteer for such a life? So you told me the mind of a soldier is brilliant, beautiful. I think one of the finest definition I've heard is that army is not a profession; it is a way of life. What makes a person choose this? Before you answer Saina's question of the LOC, just a follow-up question, please.
Yes, ma'am. If you put your mind to it, we recruit very young people, whether it's soldiers or officers. So we are taking the youth in their very impressionable years, teenagers. And who wishes to join? I can speak only for India. It is a purely voluntary army or armed forces. Who volunteers to join? Those with a spirit of adventure, those who are fired up to do something for the country, those who do not mind taking risks. So they already have it in them.
Yes, that's
And
the
then,
point.
having taken very young, impressionable minds, we cultivate into them. We cultivate them into that spirit. We hone their team spirit, camaraderie, risk-taking ability, and nurture them, train them together, bond them together. That's a band of brothers we form. So whether it's a football match or a rifle firing competition at the range, you will find the boys will go to great lengths to win a competition. His unit, his company should not come second. And you know why winning is so important to us? We given that culture. Why winning is so important to us, ma'am? Because in my profession, those who don't win often end up dead. There are no runners up, there are no silver medalists. So we give them that culture. So there we have taken someone with a good spirit of adventure who wanted to do something for his country. We've honed him, we trained him, and we trained them together to make good teams. They share risks and dangers together. They band into a good this thing, and when you throw them into operations, they produce extraordinary results.
Fantastic. Now I know the secret. You've given the secret. This is the secret. It's when you catch them young and they're volunteering. They are volunteering. There's no compulsion.
Yes.
And then they're nurtured, and that's how they volunteer. That nurturance actually is only further polished.
True. Yes, ma'am. That sense of belonging that nurturing creates, a sense of belonging to your army, to your unit, to your regiment. The man dies for the flag of his regiment. His unit ki izzat, as we say. That's what a man is giving.
In a way, he's growing in it. He's grown in it.
Yes,
Just as he grows in a family, he's growing in his unit.
True.
Back to you, Saina.
Sir, what about the family when he chooses, when he volunteers for this profession? What about the family? How do they support? And what goes on in their mind? What is it like, sir? What is the life like?
A soldier cannot give in his best if he is not well rooted, if he doesn't have a good family support. That is so important for us. A soldier serving on the front line, if he is worried constantly about some or the other issue in his family, he will not be able to give in his best. A soldier on the front line, if he's always scared for his family, he will never be able to brave risks or dangers. In fact, sometimes today, this mobile phone is very detrimental on the line of control, in the forward line. If you're constantly getting calls from home, which add to small pressure points, it makes that much difficult for a soldier to serve on the front line where he's moving around with a loaded weapon in his hand. And that is why we often take care that we don't have that, we don't allow mobile while getting into operations. I am only trying to drive home a point that family support is so much more important, especially as we who stay infantry officers and some others who actually stay in non-family stations, deployed on the LOC or counter-terrorism milieu for long durations. We stay away from our families. Our children grow up not meeting their father for long durations of time. So at those moments, that family support is vital for a soldier to be able to rest assured that his family is being taken care of. And the last sentence I'd like to say, there is very good community ethos in the army. When I say community ethos, I mean where the families are staying together. There are several families whose husbands are posted elsewhere. They bond very well. The infrastructure support given to them by the army to make for creature comforts over there, and any assistance required in that station where they choose to stay is something that gives you a feeling of reassurance. That makes it so much easier for a soldier to serve on the borders. Saina, I hope I've answered your question.
Very well, very well.
जी sir, जी.
Did this culture grow over a period, or has it been fine-tuned over a period? How does the leadership cultivate this ethos culture? And has it grown over a period, these welfare concepts and community living together? How is it grown?
Ma'am, as far as community living is concerned, in the army, we've always been living in cantonments. So we've
Yes.
always been living in a slightly separate. I mean, like you could imagine a big condo today, and then entire cantonment is all army officers or army soldiers, and then some areas are allocated for the families of those soldiers who are not posted in that station, but they are on the LOC or in the non-family stations elsewhere. So that community living has always been there. But true, as our involvement in operational area, as I'm talking at the national level, as our involvement in operational areas has increased over the last 3 or 4 decades, more and more soldiers are getting deployed in combat areas. Then families are staying here. So in such stations, it has improved over the years. You're right. Over the years, then there was a need, and it has improved over the years as to how the community, that the army, the infrastructure takes care of such families, so that the soldier in the front line does not have to worry, how will the child go to school? Will the family get the rations in time? Who's going to take care of their medical emergencies? So once he rests assured that, unless, of course, his wife could be living in his village in his joint family, then he's okay. But if she's staying in a station with 2 young children, all these basic amenities, needs, and emergencies will be taken care of. So then he's that much reassured to serve, with full josh on the borders.
So those who are in the cantonment get taken care of. I understand that. But what about, there are families who don't probably stay in the cantonment?
Even they, ma'am, they can report to the nearest cantonment. There are structures. Then there is the soldiers scenic board in every district. There are these empaneled hospitals where they can report to. They can report to any military hospital close by. So there is, apart from just their own joint family, there is something they can fall back on depending on the distance and the area they live in.
Perfect. Okay, back to you, Saina.
Sir, thank you. This is what we wanted to come out. That this unity, ये एकता, ये प्यार, ये अपनापन कितना जरूरी है for the forces to go out there and give their best. Because the family is the backbone.
जी.
Sir, ये अपनी एक दुनिया है और LOC की अपनी एक दुनिया है. Take us to that world, sir. What is the LOC all about?
देखिए ना, LOC जैसे कि नाम ही है, लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल. LOC एक बिल्कुल अलग दुनिया है, जैसे आपने कहा. What is line of control? Let me just simplify it. Line of control is the unresolved but agreed to border between India and Pakistan. I'll not go into the details. We know the wars that took place and why the border came about. अब वहां पे रहते कैसे हैं? As the name implies, line of control. So since it is a question of grabbers keepers, अगर आप इस पहाड़ी पे बैठ गए तो ये आपकी हो गई. Very loosely put. So your soldiers are posted in, are deployed in posts across that line. Post, what is a post? Post is a group of bunkers. कुछ बंकर्स हैं. बंकर क्या होता है? एक छोटा सा कमरा होता है जिसमें काफी हार्डन्ड वॉल्स बनी होती हैं, सीमेंट और ऊपर लोहा, अर्थवर्क, मिट्टी पाइल्ड अप होती है ताकि आर्टिलरी के शेल से उसमें नुकसान ना हो. छोटे छोटे वेंटिलेटर बने होते हैं जिसको हम लूप होल कहते हैं, उसमें से हम अपने वेपन निकाल के फायरिंग कर सकते हैं. फायरिंग क्यों करनी पड़ती है? अगर वहां से दुश्मन की तरफ से कोई हमें खतरा आता है तो उसे फायरिंग करनी पड़ती है. आगे हम माइंस लगाते हैं. माइंस लगाते हैं तो वहाँ पेड़ उग जाते हैं क्योंकि हम माइन फील्ड में जा नहीं सकते, तो वो जंगल पैदा हो जाते हैं वहाँ पे. सो एक टफ इलाका सा बन जाता है. और फिर ये देखने के लिए कि लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पे कोई इधर उधर ना आए जाए तो उसमें पेट्रोलिंग करनी पड़ती है. अच्छा, पोस्ट, दुश्मन की पोस्ट और हमारी पोस्ट आमने सामने होती है. कई दफा तो इतने आम पास होती हैं कि लोग चिल्ला के बात करते हैं, गाली गलौज करते हैं, गुस्सा भी करते हैं और ठीक बातें भी करते हैं. मुझे याद है 1984 में एक बार, 1983 में एक बार हम लोग कुपवाड़ा में थे, हमारी पोस्टें आमने सामने थी. तो वो उस वक्त उनको टी राशंस में गुड़ मिलता था, तो कभी कभी चीनी मांगते थे. ऐसे आपस में, मतलब जरूरी नहीं है, उस टाइम पे फायरिंग नहीं हुआ करती थी. दिस इज बिफोर दिस ट्रबल इरप्टेड. एक दफा उनके एक जेसीओ ने हमें कहा, हमने ईद मुबारक चला तो उन्होंने आवाज दी ईद मुबारक. उन्होंने कहा, सर हम आपको ईद की सेवैयां देंगे तो आप खाएंगे? मैं आपके सामने खा लूंगा थोड़ी सी. दैट इज टू रीअश्योर अस कि इट इज नॉट पॉइजन और समथिंग. कंपनी कमांडर से नहीं नहीं, आप हमें दीजिए, हम शौक से खाएंगे. तो ऐसे भी रिश्ते होते हैं, ऐसे भी रिलेशंस थे. और बिफोर आई एंड, इफ यू परमिट, मैं आपको एक इंसिडेंट बताता हूं जो मैंने इस बुक में भी लिखा है, इंडियाज ब्रेव हार्ट्स. तो शायद आपने पढ़ा हो, लेकिन जस्ट फॉर द व्यूअर्स. ऑन द अदर एक्सट्रीम is the type that when we are on the LOC, we threaten each other, we do, there is a, because of विजय यानी कि कारगिल की लड़ाई के दौरान हालात बिगड़े हुए थे. मैं भी लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल पे कमांडिंग ऑफिसर था. हम आगे वाले इलाकों में, बॉर्डर के इलाकों में, हम लोग बिल्कुल आगे जहाँ पे दुश्मन देख सकता है, फायर कर सकता है, सामने दुश्मन है, वहां पे हम लोग एक पठान सूट पहन के चलते थे जैसे लोकल्स कपड़े पहनते हैं, ताकि पहचाने ना जाए, क्योंकि लोकल्स पे वो फायर नहीं करेंगे. They don't want to fire and at the locals, because then they will start losing support amongst locals, the terrorists etc. So हम लोग आगे ऐसे चलते थे. तो मैं एक पोस्ट पे गया, थोड़ी बहुत शेलिंग वगैरह चल रही थी. एक पोस्ट पे गया, मिला जवानों से, चाय वाय पी, तो आधे पौने घंटे बाद वहां से निकलने लगा. दुश्मन की पोस्ट बिल्कुल सामने थी, जस्ट अबाउट 50 to 70 मीटर्स अवे उनकी पोस्ट थी. जब हम चले, 5 लोग थे हम लोग या 6, एक शॉल डाली, शॉल के ऊपर, शॉल के अंदर अपना वेपन होता था. एंड एज वी स्टार्टेड, आफ्टर सम टाइम वी वर कॉल्ड बैक बाय जेसीओ सेइंग, द पाकिस्तानी पोस्ट वाज सेइंग, दे शाउटेड अक्रॉस फ्रॉम देयर, ये आपकी पार्टी जा रही है, उनको रोको, हमारे को फायर करने का हुक्म है. So you'll soon understand why were they saying this. And our chap said, no, these are not our people, they are villagers. तो within 2 minutes he says, हमारे कंपनी कमांडर का फोन आया है उधर से, उनको पता है ये आपके सीओ साहब जा रहे हैं. They knew it's a very porous LC.
Yes.
So I was in a dilemma. Now I did not know what to do. When we have, you're going with your men, you feel, what do I do? If I stop now, somebody will say, तो सीओ साहब डर गया. So these are mind games that you're playing at the LOC also, and they will also feel that they said and we stopped. So I thought about it, and then I told this JCO to shout across this message, and this is what we told them. हाँ, हमारा सीओ साहब जा रहे हैं. तो लेकिन अगर तुमने गोली चलाई तो तुम्हारी पहली गोली तो हमारे सीओ को लगेगी नहीं, लेकिन तुम्हारी पहली गोली चलते ही तुम्हारी पोस्ट बिल्कुल कम हो जाएगी. जितनी कैजुअलिटी तुम्हारी होंगी उसके जिम्मेदार तुम और तुम्हारा कंपनी कमांडर होगी. बिकॉज their post was surrounded by 3 of our posts, this being the closest, and we could raise it to ground.
Right.
So we just waited for 5 minutes. They will pass on the orders to the company commander, who's somewhere way away, and on telephone will get instructions. After 5 minutes, we started.
Wow.
For the next 20 minutes, we were in the open till we reached the
Yes.
forested area.
My God.
And all the feelings that were going on in my mind would say, suppose we have casualties, if they start firing, we have no cover. This is such a stupid thing to do. Sometimes I would feel brave, sometimes I would feel despondent. But thank
Yeah.
God, uh, I think fortune favors the brave, and we went across. So LOC is a very difficult area to serve in, and
That's
there no two situations are alike.
alike. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic. I think this is the first time you revealed this in any one of your interviews.
Yes, ma'am. It is. I did write about this in my book.
That's
Actually,
right.
when you write a book, then you start sort of drawing from your mind what all other
Yeah.
incidents, and you kept sort of perhaps looking at more, and then it comes back to you.
That's
So
true.
yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Fantastic. Yes, you've written a lot on the LOC in your book, but narrating this incident is very interesting for a common man to know how every moment your life is at stake. You're taking a risk, and fortune favors the brave. You've been challenging the fortune every moment of your life. Really fantastic. Sign back to you.
Thank you.
Yes. सर
Thank you, ma'am.
सर इसमें आपने लीडरशिप की बात करी है. मम्मी, would you like to ask sir about leadership?
I think you've been an amazing leader, General. At every stage, you've shown remarkable, uh, outstanding leadership. Where did you get it from? Were you born? Were you in? Did you inherit them? Did you get nurtured? And how do you cultivate it? Because the surgical strike was clearly amazing leadership. Getting out 100 and killing 106 terrorists in JNK is amazing, very brave leadership. You have really given JNK, in a way, played a remarkable role in bringing normalcy to a great extent in JNK. India is beholden to you, both for surgical strike leadership, the thinking you gave at that time, and then, of course, handling the counterterrorism in JNK. Where did you get this leadership?
Uh, Thank you for saying that, ma'am. But not only me, every Indian Army soldier is brave, and countless of soldiers, officers, and leaders have contributed over the years to this entire effort. As to what I may have contributed, I think a man is a product of his hostage to his upbringing. You get your grooming either at home or in office meaning your profession. So at home, I was fortunate as a young child, my that I learned, I think, great sense of duty from my father. My father was in the Indian Air Force. He was an aircraft engine mechanic as an NCO. But he was so good in his job that I have, over the years, then I grew, I saw his superiors, his Air Force officers, engineering officers, trust him beyond his brief. His happiness at being able to locate a fault when others couldn't find it was great. That sense of duty that one got from him. He always chose the harder right instead of the easier wrong. So I suppose we learned some things by example in the family, and I kept those lessons that I learned from my father, I picked up from my father, uh, how to use that as an empathy with soldiers. When I joined the Indian Army, I think it was easy to transpose those lessons for me. And when I said you are groomed in your battalion, in your work, in your circle, in the work, at workplace, I was commissioned into a bravest of brave battalion. That's the official title of very few battalions. My battalion 8 is one of them. 8th Battalion, the Jammu and Kashmir Light Infantry, Jackalai for short, 8 Jackalai. Now, this is the battalion which has got Bana Singh, the living legend, Paramveer Chakra is from our battalion. And then we have Chunni Lal, Ashok Chakra. But coming back to the time when I joined the battalion, my battalion has two battle honors, among so many other things, has two battle honors in 1971. I was commissioned in 1979. So we were born and living amongst heroes. We had a
Yes.
company commander who had a big mustache. He would smoke a pipe. He got Veer Chakra. He himself benefited a Pakistani soldier officer there in this action that I'm talking about. My Subedar Major, Jagdish Mitra Saab, was mentioned in dispatches, another gallantry hero. So like that, when you heard their stories, this is what
Yeah.
our entire battalion, then all of us youngsters used to hang on every word of theirs. We would like to
Right.
listen to that. We would assume we would like to be that. So I think these are the things, as you grew up, made up our attitudes and our lives. The grooming that we got, our mentors mentored us well, the atmosphere that they created. So you never want to do anything lesser. You don't want to let down the Paltan ki izzat. You want to exceed that. And so whenever anything came by, you wanted to do more than what had happened, what had been done earlier. And I suppose that is what motivated all of us to do better as soldiers.
So as leaders, you come nurtured, but you keep getting nurtured, and
Yes.
and then you further start mentoring. What a
Yes.
remarkable army culture. But one quality you stood out completely from all that I've researched on you and studied from you, and Saina and I thought about it. I think the word called empathy. Where did you learn this empathy? You've been a very empathetic leader, very empathetic. And imagine, army is known for so much of hierarchy. Hierarchy. It's everything, yes, sir. Everything, yes, sir. Yet you were so, along with being yes, sir, and hierarchical, you got to. But how did you get this empathy? And give us some example of empathy, how you exercised it, and how it mattered and made all the difference.
Ma'am, I think if I just try and look back and see how it would have started, perhaps the seed of it was as the son of my father. Because when I saw, and I still remember those instances when my father would tell me, the chief engineering officer, he places much trust in him, and though there were people senior to him, and in doing his job about on aircraft engines, and it's a tough job. So I would see that how they would trust him beyond his brief. I, like I said earlier, I perhaps carried those lessons with me when I interacted with men. When I interacted with them, I realized that who's in front of you, and I realized that over the years, is not just a soldier. He is not a grade 3, grade 4, grade 2 employee. He is also the center of his universe. He is the hero in his village, in his community, in his
Yeah.
family. He may be a soldier. There may be 10 soldiers in a section, and there may be 120 in a company that you command, but each one of them is a hero. So when you talk to them, when you interact with them, this is how you must treat the other individual, with that kind of equivalent respect. True, our rank and our job place us in a hierarchical ladder, and we acquit ourselves as per our roles. But this is how I think the empathy uh, plays a part. And my own feeling is, my own belief is, that you can't fake it.
Yeah.
It cannot be fake that you try and do something. It If it is there, it will shine through, and the soldier, the team, they will understand it. You could actually be harsh with them, but they will understand that you mean well. And sometimes you could be very nice and do some, try and be popular, but they will understand that you're not being true. And I may not be able to single out a particular one single example at the moment. It doesn't come to my mind, ma'am. But there are so many of such things where I've had soldiers. They say some things to you that you feel, all my, मेरी life सफल हो गई. इस जवान ने मेरे को ये कह दिया, sir, I'm ready to do this for you, or I don't want him to do that. But the fact that when he says he's ready to do it for me, तो मेरा क्या है? This is not a production company. We are not producing anything more. If we are going to produce results, that is bravery. That is for a national cause. So I think that is where you really feel that it has paid off. Bonding a team, and if empathy plays a part, I also agree with you, ma'am. Empathy is one of the very significant factors that stokes up a positive spirit.
Absolutely.
सर आपकी 40 years की सेवा और यात्रा बताती है. It reflects empathy, kindness, leadership. हम आपको कुछ दिखाएंगे. You have a kind heart, you have a very wise mind, and you also have a very tough physical being, physical body. Let's show you something and then we talk about it.
Thank you.
And we have
Thank you.
Brigadier Sir
Oh.
Sir Brigadier Williams, who's been
Jain, sir.
an integral part of your journey. So,
Absolutely.
over to you, sir. Your love for adventure sports and your bond with Sir.
Brigadier Williams.
Yes.
Thank you very much. In fact, so kind of you to have.
Sir,
Sorry.
this she has asked me. Let me
Yes.
first
Okay. All right.
welcome you to the show, and this is a great surprise, a great honor. Brigadier Williams is one of the mentors, and whom I look up to you with fond respect. In fact, he was an instructor at the Indian Military Academy when I was commissioned into his battalion, and we are from the same battalion. In fact, later when he was the commanding officer, I have been his adjutant as well. That's a key appointment there. So I have learned a lot from him, and thank you, sir, for being here on this show. And thank you, Saina, for making out that very nice, collection of some of the adventure activities.
So that's completely our very loving team of DL.
Thank you.
For us, Baatcheet is a form of worship, and each Atithi becomes a part of our being. Now, this bond is for life, sir. And this is the least we can do for what you're doing for our country. This is our little tribute.
The world needed to see a brave, kind heart.
Touched,
Brave,
ma'am.
kind, large
Saina,
heart.
I'm touched. Thank you very much. And
Sir,
sorry,
yes.
Willie sir, sorry I interrupted you because she had asked me.
Sir, your thoughts about General Dua, your thoughts about
Right.
Sir.
Thank you, Saina and Dr. Kiran Bedi, for inviting me actually to surprise Satish Dua, who I can still call him as Satish. And Satish, thank you for being such a strong kind of a student leader. Because I personally have seen him grow from the time when he was in the academy. And it was such a joy when he got commissioned into my battalion as a young captain, when I saw him growing up. And gradually as a company commander, and we were together. And his most important thing, which he really reflected upon a little while ago, कि इनकी empathy के साथ में कई hidden qualities हैं जो आप लोगों को नहीं मालूम है. सबसे बड़ी चीज ये है कि he keeps the team together. That's the critical point about leadership. And I'm so happy that, Saina, that you're asking me to speak immediately after the question that you threw at him about leadership. We are all cogs in the wheel. We just support each other. But the inner strength comes from the individual. And I'm so happy that his father, whom he has spoken so highly about, has been his real leader. That has changed his complete complexion to be something in life, and that's what he turned out to be. Finally, the chief of the Integrated Defense Staff. A student of mine coming to that level is such a joy, personal joy for me. It's a motivation, it's a satisfaction, which many don't get. And I've seen Satish Dua the way that he's been groomed in the battalion as a family. That's our family. We've gone through thick and thin, whether it was along the line of control or when we were serving at Siachen Glacier. When we captured that post at 22,000 feet under minus 40 degrees Celsius, there were these people who were supporting us. Satish was one of them. I've seen him in the commandos. We were together in the commando wing also. The way that you saw in that little quip that you've created for him, you just saw that snake part. You have not seen the jump part. When as a young captain, we were required to jump from that height into the water. The demonstration that he used to give, that's the reason why he became what he is. He is an adventure sports guy. Satish, let me share a secret, Satish, can I? That without your permission of your even army commander, you went to a skydiving. The inner thing that was with you. You said, let me do it. That's what a leader is all about. Thinking out of the box. Creating stories which you can document and write what you've written about the brave hearts. ये थोड़ी छोटी चीजें जो हैं has made him into such a proud person for us, not for himself. We feel proud. I personally feel very proud of the fact where Satish stands today. And especially in your program, Saina, Dr. Kiran Bedi, you all are people who are spreading the word of people who are not heard of. Because I've seen your 12 episodes earlier, some of them I did. Very simplistically, they brought out things which are not documented. And Satish also brought out something a little while ago which is not documented. You know, I'm responsible for a lot of things for him. Let me tell you honestly, including his marriage.
Yes, including his marriage.
I will not say too much about it.
I still hold you. I blame you for that.
Dekha. That's what it is.
Naisa,
You know,
वहाँ के backbone है.
well, I will not tell you the story completely. But Mrs. Dua, who I actually almost consider her as a bahu, because I got her introduced to Satish. Her mother was saying कि भाई किसी को ढूंढो. हम लोग कमांडो विंग में थे. उसी टाइम पर ये मुर्गा आया था, posting बेलगाम में. And I said, this is the guy. And we got started. And there you are. What a blessing. And thank you, Satish, for accepting my advice almost how many? 40 years ago? Or
37 years.
8 years ago.
37.
Yeah, 37 years ago. Wow. So that's the joy of a family.
Advice, sir. Perfect advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Perfect advice.
Yes. Thank
So,
you.
I mean, I can carry on the way that you would like me to carry on because there's no ending, there's no stop as far as when I speak about Satish. But definitely he's had a hard time also staying away from the family for many years.
A lion's heart.
A lion's
and a kind heart.
And also the joy of serving with communities, serving with your soldiers, and post his retirement, he's still carrying on with personal agenda of his sports and his bikes and his hikes and everything else, but also connecting with the battalion, with the boys. Even today, he goes to the remote areas to meet the soldiers. How many of us do that? We're sitting in maybe cozy corners of Delhi, NCR, and maybe areas around Mumbai, Chennai, and Pune. Not many are sitting in Jammu and Kashmir. Our troops are from J&K. Satish has been going and visiting them, even post-retirement, just to say that we are together. That's what I thought I must share with you of the hidden stories. You talked about empathy, you talked about leadership, you talked about his adventure things. I thought I must share with you the plus points which he has not been able to share.
Thank you
So
so
I
much.
can pause here. I think my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for such valuable input, such valuable valuable information.
Thank you,
It's
sir.
made the program richer,
Yes.
much richer.
Yes, sir, we in our own humble way run two NGOs, and we run a program called Sat Sat. Today in the morning, I was talking to Sir, and Sir, we feel very honored. Sir will also be talking to our youngsters who want to join the armed forces, and motivating them and guiding them, and telling them the kind of mental fitness you need before you take the plunge, because the mental fitness and the spiritual fitness is a must. The resolve has to be completely 100% strong before you take the plunge. So that's your book, sir. Now,
Thank you.
this book, your father wanted you to write.
Yes.
He wanted
I
you to
mentioned
write
it.
this. He wanted you to write this book. And your sense of duty, work is worship, comes from him. Let's show you a small clip. Let's show you a video on what your father has said.
Dr. Kiran Bedi, I'm so glad to talk about my son, General Satish Dua. As a student, he was very interested in outing like NCC and sports and outings. We are so glad and proud that he got a seat in medical Karnataka State. And when he was on winter vacation, he was very glad to receive joining instructions from NDA. So we were little trying to convince him that he can join as a doctor, but he did not like it. He said, "Dad, it's a question of my career. I will never repent. I will never repent. Let me please join NDA now." I and my wife said, my wife blessed him. Okay, go ahead. Divine Mother bless you and be with you always. One interesting fact about his schooling, he studied in 6 different places. When I was in Air Force, getting posting from place to place, and he had to study different places 6 times.
Wow, wow,
So,
wow, wow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. These are good surprises. Thank you so much.
you want to talk about your parents, your mother, your father?
Thank you.
About them more.
Yes. Thank you, Saina. Uh, I've already spoken about the profound effect my father's professionalism in his work has had on me. My mother, she was an amazing lady because she was just a matriculate when she got married. We are 3 brothers and sisters. I'm the eldest. It is hard to believe that after the 3 of us were born, thereafter she did her intermediate, graduation, post graduation, and PhD in Hindi literature. I remember, and everything, there was no online those days. It was private courses that she joined privately, and she was teaching as well.
Wow.
Uh, and she would go to Hubli, Dharwad. My father was posted in Karnataka for her examinations. I, being the eldest, would have, remember all that. And then she has written a book
Oh my
on
God.
Nagarjun, on which she's done the thesis. If I had known, would have to speak about them. The book is lying somewhere here. Yeah.
Wow. Fantastic.
If I had known, I would have flashed the book. I do.
Fantastic.
So from someone who had just done a 10th pass, as it is called then, or perhaps even now, but the fact is that, so when you had parents like this,
Yes.
you there are
Yes.
certain things you didn't have to be taught, nurtured. You
Exactly.
imbibed certain qualities,
Exactly.
and I think one learns so much, even unknowingly.
Yes.
Then when you come back to the battalion and to a good fine set of a good working environment and professional environment with Brigadier Williams. Then when I joined, he was Captain Williams initially. So when and you get nurtured even more from by mentors. Um,
Fantastic.
uh, I think one owes whatever little success one has been able to have to such kind of upbringing. So my mother gave us all the right values. uh, Mothers play a big role in bringing up the children, from very small mannerisms to behavior to correcting the pronunciations or handwriting. Every small little thing, you continue with that all your life. So may her soul find eternal rest. She left us decades ago, but uh, I really salute her and my father, my parents, for all that they have blessed us with. Thank you.
They're very proud of you, sir.
Thank you.
And they bless you each moment. They're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you.
there is another surprise lined up for you.
Oh, I have a weak heart.
No, sir.
No.
We lined up
Now,
so much because we know you have a very tough heart and you can make us surprises. And this surprise is for sir also, Brigadier Williams, sir. Yeah, sir. Ma'am.
Oh.
This is the
Wow, lovely.
Now I am. Do you know, before she starts speaking, I must say something to you.
Yes.
In the army, we say that if a husband is colonel, the wife is considered a brigadier. If the husband is brigadier, the wife is considered a general. She's always one step above. So she's my boss at home. And so that is how. So now I'm going to keep quiet. I just won't be able to speak anything. And I'll be on my best behavior. Thank you, ladies.
Sir, your backbone, your strength.
No, I said all that. I'm glad you asked me about wife and family, the backbone and strength, while she wasn't there. If she was sitting here, I could see her, then I would have been weak on my knees.
Aradhana, hello, welcome, Aradhana. Zyada mat batana Satish ke bare mein, so be careful. Oh.
Thank you, Dr. Kiran Devi. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, very welcome. Very welcome, ma'am. We welcome you.
Oh, she's right here.
Being an army officer's wife,
Yes.
That too of an infantry officer, is not easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're married to a guy who loves jungles and mountains more than a cushy chair in South Block. When I got married, I knew I was his second wife, because I came to know that his first wife was his profession.
Correct.
And I never questioned that.
Wow. That's good.
He was away from us for long stretches. And I remember when he was posted in Kargil, he came home after 1.5 years. And my younger son was just 2 years. And when he saw his dad, he called him uncle. And when my husband asked him where your dad is, he pointed to his photo on the wall. And by the time he realized he was his dad, it was time for my husband to go back again.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
uh,
Wow.
being a working woman myself, I also had to take care of my children and my home. My husband was mostly posted in terrorist infested areas,
Yes.
and I had to make sure that I don't transmit my fear and my anxiety to my children.
Right.
Uh, this reminds me of an incident. Uh, in those days, there were no mobiles. Landlines were very few, very uncommon, and I was staying in Jammu, and my husband was posted in Punch. And I remember there was a telephone booth under a huge mango tree, and every day I used to wait to talk to my husband, which was not very frequent. But whenever there was a call from Punch, there was a fear in my heart because I didn't know what kind of news I'm going to get. Because during those days, militancy was at its peak. Uh, I had many sleepless nights, many such moments. My husband lost his colleagues, his men. Those were really terrible times. But upside was that my children grew up to be true Indians, believing in all kind of religions. They became familiar with all kind of cuisines, cultures, and traditions because we were moving every 2 to 3 years. We were uprooting ourselves, packing up our boxes, packing up our home in few boxes and moving to a new place. My children were changing their schools so often, leaving their friends behind. But the best part was they were making new friends easily and they were adapting to their new environment very fast. And I think that's what made them such confident young men they are today. Indian Army has a very strong support system and a great camaraderie. Even though I knew I was alone, I knew if anything happened, if there was an emergency, somebody will take care of it. And if someone asks me today, will you ever do it again? I will say, anytime, any day. Jai Hind.
Thank
So,
you.
Brigadier, you were right.
There you
Brigadier,
are.
you did a great favor.
Radha was the right choice.
Yes.
Just the right
All
choice that I
thanks
could really mix and match.
all thanks to you and Mrs. Williams.
I know how Vinita, my wife, managed to get on with her mother on a trip that we were going before even, they had just about met. And I said, can I take a Radha along with me? If Satish going, then I can't allow. I said, we are her guardian. So that was a lovely trip from Belgaum to Bangalore and back in my car. And it was really, these are some secrets, Shh, Aradhana, just keep it to yourself. I'm glad. I'm very happy for this lovely couple. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Brigadier
sir.
Williams, you are still my guardian.
Yes.
Yes.
You are still my guardian, Brigadier Williams.
Thank you.
You see, the guardian chose
Thank
the
you.
best,
Thank you.
best
God bless you.
lifelong partner for his students.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And thank you,
Ma'am.
Radha.
I'm privileged,
Ma'am.
that's all I can say, and so is my wife and my children. In fact, Radhana was my older son's teacher, and he's away in Australia. He's a doctor, an ortho guy, and I think he has a lot to do with his mentor, and that's Radhana, who was his
Oh,
teacher.
lovely.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Lovely.
मैम आई वांटेड टू आस्क यू, मैंने सर को शुरुआत में भी ये बात पूछी थी, जो ये रेजिलियंस आपके अंदर है और ये जो ताकत है टू एम्ब्रेस अनसर्टेनिटी, हाउ डिड यू डू इट? द वे यू हैव, ये जिस किस्म की आपके अंदर एक ताकत है टू एम्ब्रेस life as it comes to embrace uncertainty. जो आपने बात बोली कि फोन कॉल लेते हुए डर लगता था, उस टाइम आप अपने आप को ज्यादा बातें नहीं समझा सकते. You have to just take that call.
You know,
How did you do it? How did you do it?
you know, Indian Army is one big family, and we always learned from our senior ladies. You know, they always took us under our wing, and we knew what they were doing, how they were managing things when their husbands were away. And when I was in the same situation, I knew I had to do it for the sake of my husband, for the sake of my children. I had to do it. There was no other way out.
Your sense of purpose, जो आपका एक sense of purpose है, that means what I'm trying to say that sir के साथ ma'am has shared the sense of purpose, the love of the country is equal in all of them, the children.
They had a higher purpose.
Yes.
You know,
They had a
let
higher
me tell you- let me tell you one thing. We are just not a housewife. We are army wives. We are not only taking care of our children and our home, we are completely involved in our husband's professional life. We are contributing it by taking care of the men he's commanding, their families. You know, we are completely involved with that. I mean, it becomes our entire life. It's a one big family.
You're the backbone behind the rock star, the backbone behind it.
Ma'am, nourishing a home, nourishing and nurturing a home and a family, I think is the most sacred role. It's, I think they're homemakers, home nurturers, home nourishers. And
No, they are the
essential-
backbone.
Yes.
They're the backbone. They come with they are the backbone. They're the real logistics, because there's no army without logistics. This is the backbone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why government of India is having General Satish on the rolls, but actually they take the whole army on the rolls.
Gee. Family.
You know,
Yes, the whole
you know,
family.
let me tell you, the young newlyweds, who are just 21, 22 years old, and their husbands are serving in Kashmir and in many such places. But
Yeah.
they always put up a brave front. And
Yes.
Indian Army is always there to support them. I mean, it's amazing how Army takes care of its women. And these girls are so amazing. They are so brave. You know, I think we have to pay homage to these women. You know, who are so young still. You know, in their own way, they are serving their country.
True. I'm so grateful to my country that it looks after its armed forces so well. I've always said that. I always salute my country for looking after, respecting its armed forces to this extent. Now, Saina, I want to share with you something more about General. Is how he brought about the tall memorial. Let's ask him, because the memorial he was interested to come up with, it could have been as short as he and me. But why do we have a tall war memorial today? I think the country owes it to General. General, would you like to share this with us? How you did it by leadership and your very extra qualities of co-option and collaboration. General.
Thank you, ma'am. That's a very less talked of issue, and I'm very happy to get an opportunity to present this case before all the viewers. The National War Memorial, as you see it close to India Gate today, is a matter of pride for every Indian today, because we pay homage to all those fallen soldiers who have given up their lives, made the supreme sacrifice for the country after India got independence. So everyone in all the wars, in all the operations, in all combat, people who've lost their lives, their names are there. Each one has a brick.
Yep.
And there is a very poignant ceremony every day when one person, one of the next of kins, lays a wreath on behalf of the nation every evening at
Wonderful.
dusk.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
That's done every day.
Wonderful.
And he or she is the relative wife or mother or parents or next of kin of one of those names there.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
But you asked me a question I'd like to just share in a minute about how it came about.
Yes.
First, imagine that for nearly 7 decades, we did not have a national war memorial.
Yes.
Our dignitaries and foreign dignitaries, everyone went to India Gate. India Gate is a memorial for those fallen soldiers in World War One, not even two, World War One
Wow.
only.
Wow.
But in absence of any other national level monument, memorial, we all did it there. The Amar Jawan Jyoti was there. It is the present Prime Minister in the previous term. He agreed to grant, or he agreed to dedicate a memorial at national level at India Gate, and that project was given to us, headquarter IDS, because it's a Ministry of Defense issue, but all three services combined. So, integrated defense staff. I was
Correct.
chief of integrated defense staff.
That's
It was
right.
given to me. I mean, to steer the construction of
Yes.
the memorial. Today, integrated defense staff has a full-fledged CDS. That has been our demand for 2 decades. General Bipin Rawat is the first chief of defense staff. I was
Correct.
chief of integrated defense staff as one step, as a vice lower, as a vice
Right.
chief. Then we didn't have a CDS, so I was the chief.
Right.
Now, when it was entrusted to us, you've asked me about one fact. I will talk about one another aspect before I come to that. These are two very interesting aspects. From design selection to construction, I was steering the project. But initially, there were a lot of pressure to move it. And I want to share this interesting part with everyone. To move the memorial, not have it here, because it's in a very prime area, and to have it somewhere in Delhi Cant. And we
Oh,
insisted that if you have it in Delhi Cant, who will go there? Today,
that's
whether it's a domestic tourist or international tourist, whether it is a dignitary visiting on an official delegation or someone on a holiday, everyone wants to go there. And in national capitals around the world, the national memorials are at a prominent place. If you
yes.
have a memorial, let's say, beyond Dhola Kuan, in the cantonment area, Delhi Cant, who will go there except for a few soldiers and NCC cadets and some schools?
Yes.
So it was tough task convincing everybody, but what
Yes.
can then eventually clinched the issue was the Prime Minister declared it as one of the, I don't know whether it was 10 or 12 national prestigious projects.
Ra.
And because of that, it smoothed out all the things. All the arguments were closed, and we all who've seen it know that till few years ago it was a huge. It's called C-section, C hexagon, with all those
Yes.
6 lawns that have been merged. Entire road has been closed, and we are abutting the stadium there. Having said that, I will not go into the process of design selection. There was a huge, big jury at national level, and a very simple but elegant design was chosen. And having said that, the only thing that really irked, there were many irritants, there were many glitches, there were many problems, as is wont to happen. But one thing that irked, you'd be surprised to know that we were given a limit that, in keeping with the CVC, the Central Vista Committee guidelines, there was a stipulation that the memorial cannot be more than 1.5 meters high.
Only.
1.5 meters is shorter than a short man like me. So we realized, whatever we may do, however grand you make the structure, the memorial proper is going to be this much, a man's height. Or if I stand, I can actually look down at it. But they had some old rules and calculation. The bureaucracy came up with irrefutable enactments which said that Rashtrapati Bhavan's height is so much, and then when you come down to India Gate and that chhatri that we have next to it, and then it had to go down to a certain level in their calculation and what was written in the written word. And no amount of convincing would change them. When we went to the Ministry of Defense, they said, "Aap unse baat kijiye." The Central Vista Committee would lay down. Everyone was trying to be right in their own way. No one was trying to think beyond the books and beyond the lines. There is also a DUAC, Delhi Urban Art Commission. So there are 2 or 3 different stakeholders that get involved. I was at my wit's end, because in the end, even if the Prime Minister can come and say, "Ye kya bana diya?" But the point is, the bureaucracy is not listening, and we wouldn't get a height that we have now.
Yes.
So and I would tell my team, let's do something. There was a Major General Parashar, a very energetic man who was in charge of this project, and we had a very good team working day in and day out. Such projects always have a team that is, later forgotten, but they are the ones who made it happen. So one day we sat down in his office, we brainstormed what we can do, and the team, I give them the full credit, they came up with this idea. We invited those officials, without going into names and appointments, designations, we invited them to come to the memorial on a particular day, to the site where work was going on. It had already started, digging, everything had started. You all may not realize there are huge water tanks below the memorial, as you see. Water tanks that 160,000 liters of water is stored, because all the runoff comes there. That is the one that is being used. Sorry, I'm digressing. So all that work had started. And when they came there, we showed them what a grand structure it will be. We showed them the artist visualization, this, that, everything. And then when I think what they did is they showed one layer of very good grand structure, but a small little memorial. They said, "Ye kya hai?" Then we told them, these are the rules. Aapne itna allow kiya hai. How can we have this? So we need to find ways of changing this, not sticking to the written word. I think that everyone was sitting in their rooms, offices, and going by the rules, going by the files, going by the advice given to them by their staff, which all was in its own way correct. But no one was coming out of the room and seeing what is going to be the effect. So at the end of it, when they saw this, they all realized, and we suggested to them, don't tell us why it can't happen. Find ways for us how to make it happen. And I think that changed. They did it. They did it. They gave us the necessary sanctions. And then, of course, we dug down a little bit. As you see, first you go down, and now we have a majestic column standing up, as is worthy of, as is befitting for a national monument, a national memorial that honors the brave hearts who gave up their lives for our country.
What a permanent contribution. What a permanent contribution. You've given us all.
Our team. Thank you. The credit goes to the team there.
There is a team and there's a team leader. But thank you for doing this, General, for the entire country. Because I can recognize it. I understand as a colleague in uniform how much it matters.
You have so many such.
Thank you so much, General.
To your so many such accomplishments.
No, I can understand that. You've left this as a permanent karmic contribution to your nation. I think.
And if I may add, this is the first time that he is speaking about it. He's never spoken about this also on your channel.
I'm so happy, because this needs to be known to everybody. What one person can do with the team. He creates a team, he takes the team to the ground, sensitizes them, and makes them realize, and then be partners and stakeholders. I think succeeding, this is the quality of leadership all about. Saina, back to you.
So I truly believe and I truly feel hum sabko, every citizen of this country should spend 2 minutes, 5 minutes every day thanking and praying for our soldiers, because it's because of them we are safe.
Yes.
We all, in schools, colleges, universities, corporates, I think it should start with a prayer of gratitude to our armed forces. It should, sir.
Men and women in uniform.
Yes,
and the challenge is rising. Challenge is not diminishing.
Can I interrupt? Just give me a 30-second.
Yes.
Once I was in Russia, I saw a photo shoot taking place. Someone dressed in the bridal finery, photographs being taken professionally, being clicked professionally by professional photographers in the National War Memorial. They have a war memorial which is a little out of the. They made a new one which is a little bigger. That's a national war. That's the museum actually, but the memorial is in the town. When they were clicking these pictures, I asked somebody, and I learned that not only in Russia, in several of these erstwhile Eastern Bloc countries, there is a tradition that as soon as a couple is married, they go to the National War Memorial
Yes.
and pay homage. As a new, they go in their bridal finery. I mean, in that dress. So that's the kind of ethos that we need. So instead of, apart from only seeking blessings of the Almighty in whichever form that we do, they go and pay homage to those who made sacrifices, who sacrificed their life for the country.
Superb. Superb.
So
Maybe one day this may happen with the kind of leadership we have today, the patriotic leadership we have today, which made this possible for you, General. After all, the memorial place was made possible by the current leadership. Maybe that will happen
Yes.
again.
Yes.
You never know.
May I just interject
Yes.
here for
please,
just a
please.
second?
Yes, I was
Thank you
going
very
to
much. Well, I think, Satish has touched upon a very important point about national war memorials. I'd add on one more point is about the veterans
Yes.
who have so much to contribute and share through such kind of platforms on stories that they have seen across the world. And what you spoke about Russia, I've seen it, whether it's Arlington Cemetery in Washington, D.C., or the Bedford National Normandy Landing War Memorial in Bedford in Virginia, or in Australia. There's so much of respect for the veterans that these people have when you go to those memorials. When you go to any part, even in New York City, when you go to the art gallery, he said, "Are you a veteran?" I said, I'm not from the US or from Australia. He says, "You are a veteran." They stand up and almost salute you. But that sort of a feeling should come in India too. And I think people like Satish have to steer it. People like Dr. Kiran Bedi and Sanya, you've got to take it through this platform of yours. By respect is what we ask for, nothing else. Thank you.
Excellent. I'm sure this will happen.
Yes.
This will happen, General.
Yes.
Thank you.
So war veterans, families who have given us so much, families who've lost their loved ones, they are our pillars. We need to take care. Our war veterans, our soldiers, we need to spend 5 minutes every day to thank them and to pray for them. And sir, ये होता तो it's all by God's grace. हम लोग जरिया बनते हैं, वो हमें ताकत देते हैं, and we can go out there and perform our duty. They give the rush and the power in our blood to go there and serve, sir. So I pray, I hope and pray, sir, there's so much to ask you. There's so much to share. And ma'am, thank you. आप भी प्लीज हमारे साथ जुड़िए, क्योंकि आप प्रेरणा देंगी, आप ताकत देंगी हमारी महिलाओं को, बच्चियों को, बच्चों को. आप भी जुड़िए. Sir, a very big thank you to Brigadier Williams. You're such joy, sir. You're such, your energy.
Family. We got the teacher, the father, the family, the mentor. Wow. Sana, you made it all. You made the world.
Absolutely.
Gratitude to the team, gratitude to the DL team, and gratitude to Ardhaman. Sir's got 2 blessed boys. Gratitude to him, a very special mention, and thank you to him for making it happen. Thank you to you, Mummy.
My pleasure, beta.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for all that you continue to do and give us.
You do,
the youth.
Do much more. A lot awaits you, General.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Saina, for a wonderful interaction that we had. You sprung a lot of very pleasant surprises. And of course, you must have seen that while my boss was speaking, I was absolutely quiet. But on a serious note, I think my entire life one couldn't have lived and worked or worked with total gay abandon, had it not been for the support of the family.
Yes.
That's right.
Aradhana is here, my two sons. Um,
Your
already
father
brought out
and
I've
your
already
mentor.
brought out about my parents as to how they've nurtured us. Thank you very much. And the family of my battalion, in which I
Correct.
grew up from second lieutenant to a commanding officer, and of which Brigadier Williams, a very important part, but there are others also whom I must thank. Brigadier Williams, as he said, of course, he has been an important part also in our personal lives. But thank you,
Thank you.
sir. And since you represent everybody else, I thank everybody. Once again, I wish to thank Dr. Kiran Bedi, Saina, and also the entire team. I have interacted with
Yes.
one or two of them earlier
Yes.
on the technical issues. But thank you so much for uh, a very uplifting experience.
Yes. Thank
Jai
you.
Hind.
Jai
Jai
Hind,
Hind.
sir.
Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. Thank you very much,
आपको
everybody.
Jai Hind.
ग्रैटिट्यूड टू एवरीवन। और
Jai Hind.
हम जाते जाते हमारी सारी आर्म्ड फोर्सेस को प्रणाम करते हैं।
Jai Hind.
हम
जय
सारी
हिंद।
आर्म्ड
जय हिंद।
फोर्सेस को प्रणाम करते हैं। जय धारी माँ, जय हिंद। थैंक यू।
जय हिंद। जय हिंद।
प्रणाम। थैंक यू।
Jai Hind.
जय धारी माँ। थैंक यू।